Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 10. This is our presentation about the linguistic science at Gambir Station, that is the pragmatic, semiotic, and the linguistic landscape perspective. This mini research project is conducted to fulfill the English linguistic assignment. Our group members are Siti Nadira Rais, Rashma, and me, Afin Puspita Rahman. Gambir Station is one of Jakarta's most important railway stations, serving as a key departure and arrival point for long-distance and executive class train. As a high-traffic transportation hub, the station depends heavily on public signage to guide passengers, regulate behavior, and communicate rules and information efficiently. Clear and effective signage is essential to prevent confusion, maintain order, and ensure safety in such a complex public environment. This study examined public signage at Gambir Station by integrating three linguistic perspectives, that is, pragmatic, semiotic, and linguistic landscape studies. This sign has a directive speech act that represents a prohibition. The authority prohibits smoking in this train station area clearly for all kinds of cigarettes, including an e-cigarette. With this prohibition, the authority also has the right to reprimand the violator.
Sampel 1. Dilarang merokok di seluruh area station. No smoking in station area. This particular sign is an official prohibition notice enforcing a smoke-free policy. It appears along the corridor of Gambir Station.
In semiotics, it's literally a sign that says dilarang merokok or vape and no smoking, including e-cigarettes, with a cigarette or vape's icon crossed out. The connotation is that this is not just information, but it's an authority speaking. It tells you this place is controlled and we expect clean air and polite behavior. The meaning is built with the red color and circle slash as a global stop or forbidden code. The cigarette or vape picture is an icon, easy to understand fast even without reading it. The phrase including e-cigarettes poses a loophole. Linguistically, it's doing rule tightening. So from the linguistics angle, this is a directive speech act or a command dressed in simple wording. The Indonesian dilarang is strong, it's not advice, it's prohibition.
Then, number 2, the pragmatic analysis of this SOS or a helpline called button sign is a directive speech act. The instruction is for people in need to press this helpline called button if there is an emergency.
SOS. The photograph SOS device exemplifies this pattern through multilingual sign that combine Indonesian as the primary language with English translation.
Okay, from semiotics. The literal meaning is a red panel says SOS and tombol bantuan or helpline call button with a hand pressing a button. Below it, instructions tell you to press the button, wait for an operator, and talk to the operator. It also warns only for emergencies and misuse can lead to punishment. The connotation is the place is saying, we can help you, but don't play with the system. It mixes care and control. The meaning is built with red as an emergency code. SOS is a global distress symbol. The finger pressing button is an icon. The legal warning turns the sign into a serious voice. It works like we are watching and this matters. So from the linguistic angle, this is a small text that is procedural language, step by step. The warning is strong modality, which pushes compliance.
Number 3 is a passenger zone. This sign of the passengers only beyond this point has a directive speech act. This sign means the passenger of the train need to go through this point and the non-passengers are prohibited to go beyond this point.
Example 3. Passenger zone. This sign installed along a yellow tactile paving strip designed for accessibility delineates a restricted zone within the station concourse. It reads as follows: Primary Indonesian Tag, batas penjemputan, pick up banderi, and zona khusus penumpang, passenger only zones. English translation, passenger only beyond this point. Supporting pictogram include an upward arrow or walking figure with luggage.
From semiotics, it's literally a sign on the floor shows icon and says in Indonesian a pickup limit or passenger zone, and in English passengers only beyond this point. The connotation is about access and control. It draws a special border, passenger versus non-passenger. So this is built with the line on the floor is a physical sentence boundary. You feel the rule under your feet. Beyond this point is a didactic phrase. It means depend on the location. It only makes sense because you are standing right there. The pictograms are icons. The rule itself is a symbol. You learn that crossing lines are not allowed. So from the linguistic angle, this is written as a simple statement, but functionally it's a command. Do not cross unless you are a passenger.
Number 4 is the trash bin. The sign of this trash bin has a directive and assertive speech act. For the directive, the authority put the bins with different signs for people to throw the trash in the correct bin based on the specific categories. And for the assertive, the picture of the sign provide information to the public about what type of waste that can be thrown into those different bins.
Sample 4. Trash bin. This triangular trash bin features clearly demarcated compartment for waste classification, aligning with Indonesian national waste management policies that emphasize segregation to facilitate recycling, composting, and safe handling of hazardous material. The sign employs a structured multilingual approach.
As literal meaning, the bin station labeled tempat sampah or trash bin has 3 categories: organic waste, inorganic waste, and B3, dangerous waste, each with example items and icons. The connotation is the station teaching you good citizen behavior, sorting waste, responsibility, and modern public order. The meaning is built with color coding that works like grammar. Green means nature, blue means regular or clean system, red or orange means hazard or danger. And then the item pictures like food scraps, bottle, batteries, they are icons. And the categories, organic, inorganic, B3. These are symbols. So this is a classification language. It doesn't just describe trash, it creates categories that people must follow.
Number 5. The direction for various facilities. The signage in this station use an assertive speech act. This sign use language and symbols to give the information to the people in the train station about various facilities. There are easy to understand picture and arrows so people can go to their desired location.
Sample 5. Direction for various facility. This freestanding informational employs a consistent bilingual format, Indonesian as the primary language and English as the secondary language, across all directional and service indicators. Key linguistic feature include top section, kedatangan, keberangkatan, departure, middle yellow band, exit information, keluar, exit, standardized exit pictogram, and rightward arrow. Lower section, service facility, and additional direction. Loket pembatalan tiket, ticket cancellation, kantor, layanan pelanggan, customer service, toilet, restroom, including accessible symbol, ruang kerja bersama, co-working space, loket penjualan langsung, tiket sales counter, konter pelaporan, check-in counter, masjid, mosque, halte busway, harmony busway stop.
Okay, in semiotics, this is literally a tall board gives directions, arrivals, departures, exit, ticket services, customer service, toilet, co-working space, check-in counter, mosque, busway stop with arrows and icons. The connotation is that this is the map voice of the institution. It makes the place feel organized and predictable. The meaning is built with arrows that are strong index signs. They physically point you somewhere. Icons like train, toilet, mosque are symbols. Mixed, they look simple, but you learn their meaning through common public design. The layout is hierarchically. Big flows, arrival, departures at the top, smaller services below, that visual grammar. From the linguistic angle, the most lines are nouns, not full sentences. That's typical public sign language. Minimal words, maximum speed.
And then the umbrella dryer. This umbrella dryer sign uses an assertive speech act. The label of the umbrella dryer states that this facility that provided by KIA is a tool designed to dry an umbrella.
Sample 6, umbrella dryer. This mobile drying device, branded by PT Kereta Api Indonesia (KAI), the sign is structured as follows: a standardized international pictogram, an open umbrella with line drop imprint, placed within a high contrast blue square, ensuring immediate recognition independent of language.
Literally, in semiotics, this is a box labeled umbrella dryer with an umbrella icon and the KAI logo. This shows care and professionalism. We manage rain, cleanliness, and comfort. It also quietly supports safety. Less water dripping equals fewer slippery floors. The umbrella picture is an icon. Umbrella dryer is practical label. The brand logo is a symbol of institutional ownership and trust. So this is a simple noun labeling again, typical of public signage where speed matters.
The next is the priority seat. The sign of this priority seat is a declarative speech act. The sign is not just about describing about the seat, but it changes the seat's social function. The seat changed from regular seat to priority seat for a certain people.
Sample 7, priority seat. This is an international institutional public sign placed inside a transportation facility. It serves a regulatory and informative function, guiding passenger behavior regarding seat usage. The bilingual presentation reflects language hierarchy, with Indonesian as the primary language and English as support for non-local users. The sign uses pictogram representing pregnant woman, physically challenged passenger, elderly passenger, and passenger with infants.
In semiotics, this is literally a large blue sign, and seat labels say these seats are for pregnant women, people with physical challenges, the elderly, and passengers with infants, with clear icons. So this is a moral rule presented as public etiquette. Be decent, give the seat. The icons are icons. They show a cane, pregnancy, baby, etc. The blue color suggests calm information, not danger. Repeating the message on the seats makes it harder to ignore. Semiotically, repetition increases pressure. So the wording looks like a description. This seat is for blah blah blah, but it functions as a polite comment to everyone else. Don't sit here if you don't need to.
Number 8 is a drop zone. This sign is a directive speech act. The sign is an implicit instruction for the driver who want to drop off their passengers to do so only in the zone with this sign, and not to stop elsewhere, and not to park there for a longer period.
Sample 8. Drop zone. Drop zone sign at Gambir Station, located along the passenger drop-off area beneath the station canopy. This freestanding sign displays.
In semiotics, this is literally a sign shows a car and a person with the words drop zone. Nearby, there's also a no parking type sign in the background. So the space values fast movement, not lingering. It's designed for quick drop off, not stopping for long. The picture is an icon of a car and a person, then drop zone is a borrowed English phrase that signals official transport culture. The sign's position at the curb is indexical. It ties the rule to the exact spot. So, two words do the job. The shortness sounds firm and official.
Number 9, caution. The sign with the caution wet floor and the slip and fall picture in the red is an assertive speech act. The cleaning staff remind us about the true condition of the area, that is wet and slippery floor.
Sample 9. Question. This sign, question wet floor sign, yellow frame or cone-shaped warning marker, placed in what appears to be an indoor public like a toilet or religious facility. Given the surrounding architectural element such as place for ablution, this sign employs bilingual text in two languages, arranged in structure and hierarchical manner. English question wet floor, position at the top and rather in large prominent lettering.
In semiotics, the sign literally is a yellow cone warns caution wet floor and hati-hati licin with a sleeping person symbol. This is about safety, but also about responsibility, like we warn you. The cone itself is an index. It strongly suggests the floor is actually wet or slippery. Yellow is a learned warning color. It's a symbol. The sleeping figure is an icon that communicates instantly. It's a warning speech act. It doesn't force you, but it pushes you to change behavior, like walking carefully.
Number 10 is the sign of Pintu Barat VIP or the VIP West entrance. It is a directive speech act that directs people who are authorized or the VIP passenger to use this specific entrance, and the arrow reinforces the command to go directly below the sign to enter the train station.
Sample 10. Pintu Barat VIP. VIP entrance. This is an official, directional, and institutional sign installed by the Station Authority (KAI). Its main function is wayfinding, directing passenger to a specific entrance area. Bahasa Indonesia, primary, Pintu Barat VIP. English, secondary, VIP West entrance.
In semiotics, the sign is literally a sign points down and says VIP West entrance. This sign creates social hierarchy in space. VIP marks a special group with special access. VIP is a powerful symbol. You learn it means exclusive. higher status. The downward arrow is an index pointing to where to go. The rope barrier in front is also a physical sign. It's the punctuation mark that says not everyone enters. So the phrase is neutral, but the social meaning is strong. It separates ordinary from privileged.